The only people who call me lucky are the same people, are the only people whom I do not admire, whom I don't look up to, whose lives haven't been much better than mine, or who have not been growing themselves, the people who are not improving themselves, the people whose health are fucked, and basically people who don't know why they exist. Those are the type of people whom I hear all of these things from, that you're lucky. And when people say that, those things, I just ask them one question, like, well, why do you think I'm lucky? Like, I'm just curious, not feeling offended, but why do you say I'm lucky? Well, you've built your communication skill, you've got a good communication skill, you've got, everything figured out somehow. But what do you mean somehow? Do you know how many times I had to come in front of this camera? How many times I had to re-record myself for hours? How many times I had to edit and sit in front of this phone and literally just edit it? You know how many times I had to face my fears? How many times I had to put myself out in situations where I did not want to? How many times I had to just stop my own self from beating myself up? How many times I had to fail? But what about, you've got everything figured out in life, where your life's good, you haven't failed enough. But what do you mean? What could be worse, right? What's the worst thing you can imagine for themselves, their whole childhood? Or besides calling me lucky? Well, I have failed. I have got kicked out from my school, like I mentioned earlier in one of my videos. At a very early age, I got kicked out from my school. I stole my parents' money. I used to... what did I do? I don't even remember. Yeah, I got heartbroken. I cheated. I lied. I did all of these things. I got, in my class, in my 11th standard in my high school, I couldn't, adapt to a new place. I had to come back. That was a failure for me. Class 12, that's when I got heartbroken. And what could be worse? What's the worst thing that you can imagine? My parents had to go through shit. I've seen the worst phases. I've made my parents cry so much. I've seen it myself. And I would never, ever, ever put myself in that shoes again, in that shoe again. And that's the reason why nobody can say shit to me. That's the reason being that I don't allow anybody to talk shit about me or my parents or anybody. Because instead of just complaining and just talking about, someone else, or just blaming somebody to be lucky, or just putting them in this, whole lucky cycle and blaming the luck for somebody being successful, that's the biggest fallacy that I had to face. I had to admit myself that there's nothing called luck. There is luck, but it all depends on the work you do. If you show up every day, if you're putting the work, God is going to send you so much luck. That's for true. If you don't work, if you don't do anything, if you're not putting any inputs, and all of a sudden you're expecting for so much, and when you don't see enough results, by just putting in 10% of what somebody else is even doing, your 10%, your 100% may be somebody else's 1%. That's the whole calculation. And you call them lucky while they've been operating for so much more. You're not even in the bare minimum category, right? So, end of the line. One thing I've also learned was not to take things so personally, right? You might be getting this fierce energy, some sort of energy watching this video. Oh my God, he's angry. But nah, I'm calm. Don't worry. It's just I have to put these words into emphasis, and I have to practice different vocal, chords and all that shit, just to improve my communication. I have to try every single thing as well as every single thing, just practicing coming in front of the camera and just putting myself out. That's it.